Hello, welcome to another episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health here on YouTube. My name is Todd Rennebaum. You can listen to the audio podcast version on Spotify, Apple, and all those other great places you can find podcasts. This episode is an older one. Again, I don't even think I show up on camera, but that's fine. It was originally aired in May 2022 with the stand-up comedian Rodney Norman. Now he has a character that I'm positive you've seen before on social media and videos and stuff. He's the wild-haired, big-bearded, gray-haired guy that he talks like this, and hey, you should really be nice to yourself. I'm not doing it justice, but you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, keep in mind that newer versions of the podcast are better quality, so just bear with me with this episode. So anyway, without further ado, I give you Rodney Norman. Well, thanks for doing this. And I wasn't sure if you were going to be like, I just learned recently that you do a character, like that whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
His name is Leonard McCrunsky.
Oh, I didn't know he had a name.
Yeah.
I better write that down.
Yeah, he's been a project that I've been working on for a while, and he just became more famous than I was before I was really ready for it. So.
Oh yeah. So I wasn't sure if you were going to be in character or if you were going to be this guy, or that guy.
Well, I'm this guy, but I can be that guy if you need me to be that guy.
Well, maybe later. Yeah. I have to say I was a little disappointed to find out he was a character.
Yeah, me too.
Like, oh, I want that person to be a real person.
Well, I've had a lot of people who've said that to me, and it cracks me up every time I hear it. But yeah,
you're better off. So do you take offense to that?
Oh no, not at all. Because I look at it this way. It's like it's kind of like saying, "Wow, you're such a great actor. We had no idea."
Right. That's
you pulled one over on us.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's not we like you better as someone else.
Well, that's basically what they're saying, but I don't get it. Hey, you're nice and all, but we like the other guy that's not real. So, okay.
You're too normal. That's boring.
Yeah, which is true. I totally agree.
So this is a mental health podcast. So I mean, I don't know if you've had mental health or mental illness issues, but
not personally, but I have been around it enough quite a bit throughout my life. Well, as I like to say, to read my family history, you have to have a working knowledge of the DSM-5. So,
which I do not.
Yeah.
I was just I just thought it was really great that your character, was it Leonard McCrunsky?
McCrunsky, yep.
McCrunsky. Just how inspirational he is for people, and that I think you actually help a lot of people that, put a smile on their face, and, it's always inspirational messages you give. And,
yeah. Well, yeah, he was, he's patterned after my grandfather, who was an alcoholic. And so, I come from a family of, that's had issues with substance abuse, and, most of my family have been on some sort of psychological drugs through most of my life. So I've been around all of those issues. Mm-hmm. And the character himself really is the goal, I guess, is that he's the world's worst motivational speaker. But in so being, he becomes the best motivational speaker, because all of the pretense that you get, all these guys are the gurus on Instagram or whatnot, they always get on there and go, "Hey man, you deserve to be happy today, and I'm here to give you permission to be happy." That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As soon as it pops up, it's a good-looking dude. He's got a great tan. He's standing in front of his multi-million-dollar home. He's got his Ferrari and a Lamborghini and parked in the front. Yeah, you pull up to that. It's like, this guy has no idea what my life is like.
Yeah.
He can't relate to me. And you just kind of gloss your eyes, roll them, and move on.
Yeah.
And even though they might actually have something important to say, and you would agree with everything they have to say, you don't want to hear it coming from them.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, here comes my character who just does not care about any of the social cues about, the pretty hair, what he looks like, where he's at. None of that matters. Because ultimately in life, none of it does matter. The big cars, the big houses, all the money, none of that really matters when it comes down to it. Especially with health, when it comes to your mental health, pursuing all that stuff and thinking that you're supposed to have that somehow your life is lacking because you don't have that. That's the problem. That's the message that needs to be told, is that this whole continuous pursuit to have more and more stuff doesn't solve any of your problems. That usually creates more problems.
Absolutely. I think capitalism itself is a mental illness.
Well, it does. Any government system that is, they all cause problems. It's that constant. You need to have more, and your life is lacking because you don't have what we have.
Yeah.
It's a horrible cycle to continuously pursue and push.
Yeah. And I love that you're huge on social media, because social media is terrible for that shit. Everybody posts their holiday pictures and all the things that are wonderful in their life. So then you're comparing yourself to everyone around you, and everyone's prettier and richer and happier. And then you come on there and your fucking hair's a mess and your beard hasn't been combed in a week, and you're just.
Yep. Half the videos they talk about my car being broke down on the side of the road, which is true. I'm currently sitting in a car that doesn't have reverse.
What? that would drive me nuts.
I have to be careful where I park. I have to either always park on an incline, so I got a little bit of a grade down so I can back up.
I actually
pull straight through.
It's funny because I Googled you. Well, when I saw a video of you doing one of your things, and I was like, oh my God, this guy it would be amazing to have this guy on for the podcast. So then I Googled you, and the first thing that came up was you doing some stand-up comedy. You didn't have a beard, you had short hair. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And then you started talking, and I was like, oh my God, that is him. Yeah. But you do stand up, obviously. Actually, when for the character, did you grow the beard and the hair out for the character, or were you just doing that anyway? Like you just.
My father always had a beard, and I always admired it and wanted to have a beard. But through most of my adult life, especially in my 20s, when my beard came in, it was in like 6 different colors, and it was kind of splotchy. So it looked like a calico cat was dead on my face. It just didn't look right. And as I got older and started going gray, I went ahead and I grew it out, and I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, this is it.
Well,
and I had a cousin who used to play Santa Claus all the time.
Oh yeah.
And he had passed away a few years ago. And so I kind of, as a tribute to him, I decided I wanted to start being Santa Claus. And so I started growing out the beard, and I loved it. And I just dig it. And then with the character, just sort of kind of fell in with it. So my grandfather was actually clean shaven all the time.
Oh, I see.
But so this is sort of but no, I love the beard. I love the hair. I just totally dig it. People keep telling me, "Oh, you're going to shave it." I'm like, how boring. You want me to look like everybody else? No, thanks. I've done that. It's not a good look.
That's right. You have a big personality. You need to, you need the outside to match the inside.
Exactly. This ego will not be contained by my skin alone.
That's why I like the big mustache myself.
Yes.
Anyway,
that's the mustache part. That's the thing I'm really digging.
Yeah.
This guy can never figure out how to get the whole handlebar mustache. And then I figured out you have to be constantly grooming it into place.
Yeah. It's people ask me if I use wax, and I say it depends what I had for breakfast. That's really what's holding it together. So, peanut butter sometimes syrup.
Most waxes. Yeah. Well, people don't realize that those waxes they'll burn my skin, because they kind of work their way down onto my skin, and they started burning my skin. So I don't use much of those things anymore.
Back in the day, it was earwax is what they used.
Earwax? I could do that.
Well, there you go. So where did you grow up, and how did you become the person that you are?
Well, I grew up in Utah. My father was a diesel mechanic who built race cars. So really? I grew up around race cars through most of my childhood. And
Mormon?
I went on Mormon. Okay. I did a Mormon missionary in New Jersey.
Oh.
A couple of years, and then when I came off that, I joined the Marine Corps. And then I've also got a bachelor's degree in philosophy. And I've been an actor and a comedian. I started doing comedy in 1998, but I've been in some form of theater and acting, improv, all that kind of stuff since I was a kid. Just love it.
Huh. Do you still practice Mormonism?
Oh yeah. I'm still card carrying member. The whole thing.
I was in Utah a couple years ago. I live in Saskatchewan, Canada. I don't know if you know where that is.
Yeah, I do. Rough Riders.
Yeah, that's right. Well done.
I love Canadian football.
Well, right on.
You guys spread it out.
Who's your favorite team? Just say the Rough Riders.
I'll go with Rough Riders.
Attaboy, yeah, that's good. Anyway, I drove through Utah. What a beautiful state.
Oh, it is. It's probably I think it's the most beautiful state of all. Probably the only other two that would give it a run is Hawaii and Alaska.
I've been to Alaska. I haven't been to Hawaii, but yeah, Alaska's pretty, well, I mean, they're beautiful for completely different reasons, all three of them.
Yes.
Yeah, we went to
Utah's got everything.
Yeah. We only spent we basically just drove through it. Well, we spent the night just outside Salt Lake City, and we went out to, I think it's Antelope Island out on the lake.
Oh yeah, the Great Salt Lake. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it was just intensely beautiful. I had no idea. And then the next day we were in Vegas.
Yeah. Yep.
It was very different.
That's how. Yes, it is. A whole different kind of beauty.
As a Mormon, do you drink alcohol at all?
No, I don't drink. And mostly that I think is actually attributed to my grandfather because, like I said, he was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. And so he was always drunk, but he would get, when he was just lost, he was happy and kind of melancholy. But he got too drunk and then he got mean and violent. And so every time he got really mean, we had to leave.
Right.
Mom would pack us up and we'd all take off. And there were times where we would go to visit and she would go in to check and see if he was too drunk for us to visit. And so there was those times where, I attributed as a kid that alcohol and that smell ruined my grandfather. Because when he wasn't drunk, he was great. But when he was drunk, he was a mixed bag. And he would, he could get very angry and mean. And as a kid, it hurt me to see that. And so just as a young boy, I just decided I wanted nothing to do with alcohol, and I've never tried it, never cared for it,
Hmm.
never wanted to even go down that road, because I saw what it did to my grandfather, and I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I'm 5 years sober now. I had to go to treatment and stuff. I had a bit of a go, but no, thank you. Yeah. But how hard is it for you to, I guess it's not hard at all, but like going to like clubs all the time to perform and being around alcohol and drunk people and stuff. Is it triggering at all?
No, it's not triggering. It's not, if anything, I understand, because I understand my grandfather was going through, it was a way that he was trying to deal with his own pain and his own frustration of his own life. And so I understand that. I also know that I've been around it, when you go to races, people are drinking all the time. So and plus in the Marine Corps, I've been around alcohol my whole life. I've just never, I don't look, I don't look down on people because they drink. I don't have that kind of that
superiority.
I don't think I'm superior to anyone because I don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's a better choice for me, and everybody else can make their own choices. And
right.
But no, I've never been really tempted or triggered or anything. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other.
Right. So you think you're superior because your beard?
Yes, the beard is why I'm superior.
Well,
and a Marine, and being a Marine.
Right.
And I studied philosophy. So I mean, what I'm saying is there's a lot better reasons why I'm better than other people.
Was it your purpose to inspire people with this character, or was it just something you thought would be funny?
I think kind of both. I think with my comedy, I've always wanted to be a little smarter and more, just more positive, I guess. And, when COVID hit, the character it was just sort of this, the perfect storm, because here I wanted to be funny and enlightening and fun. And I wanted to just be funny for the pure sake of being funny. But I wanted to talk about things that nobody else is talking about. All my comedy friends were all complaining about toilet paper and wearing masks and all that stuff. Right. I just wanted to talk about anything other than what everybody else was doing. And so it just kind of fell into it, just being positive and fun and happy, and just realize that no matter how bad life gets, it's not that bad, that we make it worse in our own heads, in anticipation and whatnot, and are trying to, having all these desires of what we want it to be, and it's never that. And then when we get what we thought we wanted, it's never what we thought it was going to be. And, that whole cycle. And I just thought, man, I'm just going to start making fun of that. There's so much material there when you start talking about the human brain and the way we think and the way we do things. And it's just been an absolute desire. It's been a blast to do it. Wow. And, the way it's helped people, that's the thing that really has blown me away, is that how many people have really identified with this character and identify with the things that I make fun of and how I talk about life. And so many people who have, it still gets to me, but I've had so many people who have told me that they were ready to check out, that they were ready to take their lives. Right. And they came across one of my videos and they said it just pulled them out of that funk. They just realized, hey, my life is actually not that bad. I can pull through this and get through it. And those, that to me is probably the most rewarding thing of all of this, is just seeing that, here these silly, just kind of dorky videos are really kind of helping pull people out of their own funk. Yeah. Because we've all been bombarded with all this fear and anger and frustration, it's become everything. Everything is that now. Oh God. And And here I come along, every video that you see, every post you see, it's all anger and mad, and conspiracy theories, and all these terrible things. And then here I come along, in the middle of the woods, jabbering on about accordion players and cookies, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah, okay, things aren't that bad.
How many videos did you make before you kind of went viral, didn't you? Or was it a gradual?
I had one video that just took off like crazy. I mean, it's still going crazy even now. It's been it'll be 2 years on June 1st since it was released, and we tried to calculate it, but it's been re-memed and repurposed by so many people that we estimate that it's been seen by over 300 million views.
Wow.
Its various forms.
I'm guessing it's the one I shared about 2 years ago. I almost felt bad sharing it because I was like, I'm exploiting this weird hobo in the woods. Like, should I be doing this?
Yes. Yeah, I had a lot of people who reached out to me. They were like, concerned for my safety, and was I getting proper attention and all that stuff. And all it was just my bumbling, innocent character trying to explain the George Floyd situation without offending anyone.
Oh yeah, right.
That was the inspiration behind the whole thing. It's just, how to talk about it without offending anybody. And so that was the whole. Pausing, confused, and the weird language.
Yeah.
And it just connected with people.
Everybody over here saying stuff, and then everyone over here saying, no, I don't say that stuff.
Yeah.
Man. But maybe it was longer than that one, because I don't know. It was one where you were just basically being like, love yourself and all this stuff and have a good day. It was just inspiring. It wasn't... there was the second one. Well, the third one that really took off was that got me on TikTok. It's the one that was one. It's about a minute long, and I'm just saying, if you're alive, if you're seeing this, you're still alive. And right. Yeah, maybe that was the one.
Life isn't so bad. Yeah, that one. It got duetted by Howie Mandel.
Oh yeah.
And
he's a Canadian.
Yes, he is.
I noticed when I was listening to your stand-up that it is very clean. Like, it is very family friendly. There's no swear words. It's not negative. It's not blue, but it's just good, silly, fun stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming you do that on purpose.
Yeah, well, for one, I'm just not a very profane person anyway. I'm not really. I've never really been into the real dirty material. Yeah, and again, it's not that I'm trying to say, hey, I'm
better than you.
I'm more blessed and holier than thou. God likes me more than you. It's just I just want to make everybody laugh. Not just people in a bar.
Right.
And I've also the idea that my kids are going to see this, and my grandkids are going to see this. My mother watches everything I put out. So I think part of that is I'm not afraid of talking about controversial issues, but I don't really see comedy, at least my comedy, as I'm not trying to change the social structure. I'm not trying to break down social norm. I'm just trying to be funny and make people laugh.
And that's almost harder to do.
It is, because I think comedy changes over time, and a lot of comedy now is just basically cheerleading and throwing rocks at things that we hate. And I just don't like it. And I mean, it's still people who do that. I still think it's funny. It's very talented what they do, but I just see I want to do something else. I don't want to be like everybody else. That to me is just that's well covered. It's a well covered area. They're all doing that, so I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah, right. Well, you're good at it. It reminds me a bit. Well, yeah, you're welcome. It reminds me a bit of like Jim Gaffigan, because he's the same way. It's very clean, very family friendly, and yeah, he works really hard at doing it that style. So yeah. So how long were you in the Marines?
I did a 4-year stint back in 91 to 95. I joined because of the first Gulf War, and then it was over before I was even out of my first week of boot camp. So I ended up just sort of having a... It was like, hey, we're going to war. There's all this. We have all this money. We have all this stuff. We're going to, yay. And then as soon as the war was over, they just cut everything. And then it was kind of crazy. Yeah, Americans in war, we're kind of stupid about it. I don't know if you guys are, I don't know if you're familiar with our work, but.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'm glad you said it, not me.
Oh, yeah. And then well, I was a very, patriotic kid growing up, and I love my country, and then joining the Marine Corps opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it's like, wow,
yeah,
this isn't what they were saying it was, but no, I'm still a proud moment. I still, I'm very proud about having been a Marine, and it was a great time. A great experience in my life. And
it made you who you are today?
Yes, it very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a few people that, well, again, I just talked to a guy that did 27 years in the Canadian military, and it's like, I don't know how many people come out of the military with mental health issues. And it's like, well, yeah, that's...
Oh, yeah. And yeah, they do, because it really changes the way you see and think about everything.
Right.
And especially if you actually end up going to war, which so many, recently have been going through. I mean, to do the things you have to do, it's going to mess you up. I mean, and a lot of them go through, they're where every single day, the threat of being killed is constant and continuously present. And you're always on guard. And then all of a sudden they say, okay, you go home now. And then, without any real debriefing at all, they just kind of come and drop you back into society and say, okay, you're on your own. That's after, when you're in the military, you have that constant support structure. You constantly have, your fellow Marines, your fellow soldiers, and you have a command structure. If you need something, you can, it's always there. Your medical, your mental, all that's always there. And then when you get out, it's just gone. And then to be able to get what you rightfully are supposed to have, you have to fight for it. You have to go and prove to them that you're crazy, or that you're damaged to get any kind of help. And then the whole process of trying to get help makes it even worse, because now you become even more anxious and more paranoid, and it's horrible what has happened to so many. Yeah, absolutely.
And I had friends that went to Bosnia and Afghanistan he was an officer, and so I don't think he saw any action, but still he was completely disillusioned. Like, he came back, he was like, it's useless. I have no idea why we're even there. Everything we're being told isn't working, and it's like we're doing nothing. And it's so then he gets frustrated, and you dedicate yourself to the service of your country, and then your country sends you over to a country that has nothing to do with yours, and to have people that and work with being killed. And a lot of it is just pointless and unnecessary, and it's like, what is this? Why are we doing this? Yeah, anyway, I didn't mean to get into the military stuff. But,
oh no, it's fine.
But you are American, so
it's what we do.
It's kind of a big part of the culture in a way down there,
and it's really sad. And it's disheartening, especially because the idea of like World War II, fighting the clear. Yeah. Who's right, who's wrong, having that distinction. and then, but as you get involved and you see things as you get older, you realize that none of this is black and white. None of this is, it's like I tell people, most conflicts, you don't need to pick a good guy or bad guy, because most of the times they're both right and they're both wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and to sit there and say, oh, well, this guy's better than that guy. It's like, it's not, when it comes to war, no, it's usually just two bad people doing bad things to each other.
Yeah.
And to try to decide, well, it really is. And, this is why we really need to rethink the way we do governments and everything, because they're becoming more powerful and even more invasive in our lives. And, and I said, just look, obviously look what you guys have got to go through in Canada with Trudeau. That dude is, well, I don't want to get you in trouble. I know.
I don't mind him. I don't love him. I could take him or leave him. I'm neither here nor there. But honestly, I try not to let I try to make my bubble very small. I control what I can control what I can control. Yeah, and that's it.
Well, and that really is my message that I keep trying to convey to people, especially through the characters. The predominant philosophy is Stoicism, which is exactly what you're saying. If I have no control over it, then why am I worrying about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You still want to be involved. You would still want to be paying attention, but at the same time, there's so many things that go on that you have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to happen whether you like it or not. If you want to stand on a street corner with a sign and yell at people about it, you ain't going to change anything regardless.
Right. Which I do sometimes.
It's good. It makes you feel better. Awesome. But ultimately, it's just you and your life, your experience. This is what you have control over. And this is what you should be concerned with.
Yeah.
And you should be doing things to keep yourself healthier and happier, and because it's all these things coming out of the world coming into you, and you feel powerless because you have all these things that you think are important and you can't do anything about them, and that's where the fear and the anxiety comes from. But when you let all that go and say, this has nothing to do with me ultimately, I'm just going to worry about me, you'll find yourself in a much happier and healthier place.
That sounds like another Leonard video.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do some advocating for mental health and stuff. So I do wave the sign once in a while and protest or whatever, but at the same time.
Ultimately.
Is that better?
Oh, that is way better. Let's start over again.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, let's start over. So where are you from? No, I'm kidding. But yes, sorry, you were saying.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, well, there's in Stoicism, it comes down to the things that you have control over and things you don't have control over.
Right.
And the things you don't have control over, why are you ever worried about them? It doesn't mean ignore them. It just means give them the proper place and attention. And if there's nothing you could do, then why bother?
Right.
And you focus on the things you can do. But there's also a kind of a third middle area where there's a place where you can have influence.
I'm sorry. I'm just hearing this as Leonard. I'm just hearing this as your character. Yeah, I know you're trying to be serious, but it's like.
So there's things you can do and there's things you can't do, and then there's stuff you can do. You sort of kind of do some of this stuff, but it doesn't really change anything. But at least you feel like you're changing something, and that is important to you. Because if you feel like you're in control, then you're in control. But if you don't feel like you're in control, then you're not in control. And so then why not get worried about being in control when you don't have control? But if you're in control of things you aren't in control, then you're doing pretty good.
Exactly. Yes, I learned that in AA, actually, the Serenity Prayer. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes, yeah. Very familiar.
So What do you call it? Stoicism?
Stoicism.
Stoicism.
It's
And that's a philosophy.
Yes, it's a philosophy called Stoicism, and it's just about how to conduct your life, how not to get upset about things, don't take any of this personally. Life is not fair. It's never going to be fair. Good things, bad things all happen to everybody, and it doesn't really mean anything. It's just life.
Look at you using your college degree in philosophy.
Yes. Yeah, that's been the funnest thing is that I've had, a lot of friends, people I went to school with, went on to become professional philosophers and get into college and teaching. And I had considered going that route for a while. But here I am making these silly videos, and I think I connect with more people and teach more about philosophy than any of those guys. And they're getting, big bucks from the colleges to teach.
Facebook doesn't pay you?
No, I've not made a single dime from Facebook.
Oh.
Not at all. Well, no, they tell me I'm supposed to, and they keep sending me links saying, hey, you should be monetized. And then I click the link, and then it goes to nowhere. So I think I'm getting ripped off by Facebook.
Well, yeah, if one video's gotten 300 million views, then even 1 cent a view, that's... Yeah, there are people who have stolen my video, repackaged it, who have made more money on it than I have. I want to swear, but I know you don't like it.
But there's nothing, I no matter what I do to try to correct it, I get people, I've had people's videos taken down because they basically stole my work. And I'm like challenging them because, I know they're making money off. They're not giving me any credit. And I have to because, it's my livelihood to a certain degree. It's my likeness. And they're stealing it to use it for their own good. And then they get mad at me for doing it. I'm like, wait a second. What?
I just had this conversation with someone else.
Oh, it's insane. It's like, why are you being such a jerk? I'm like, what? You're stealing from me. Why am I the jerk in this situation? You never. Well, I had one guy who was taking my videos, and he was putting titles on it saying man with Alzheimer's or man with dementia. So he was using the videos to mock people with dementia. And I'm like, that's not what any of this is about. And I went after that guy pretty hard because I was like, I'm not letting you do this.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's a class act.
Yeah. It was like, and I contacted him directly and I said, hey man, you need to, take these down because, don't have that title. Don't make fun of people with Asperger's and whatnot. And also maybe you should credit me for the videos. And because he started making money on YouTube using my videos.
Damn.
Yeah. So I went after him with YouTube pretty hard. Got him shut down. So
well done. Yeah, I just had this exact same conversation about an hour ago with a friend of mine who makes memes and videos on Instagram. And she's like, fine, someone steals my meme once in a while. But she made a really heartfelt video where she's like, it took her like a year of like, because she's bipolar. So she would video herself in her different manic, states and stuff. And someone stole her thing and repackaged it, like you said. And then she went after them. And then they were like, why are you being a jerk, man? Like exact same story. It was like,
yeah, it's like, what? I said, you're taking what I created and turning it into completely something against exactly what I was not doing.
Yeah.
You completely are mocking and ridiculing things that I don't want it to be mocked and ridiculed. And I'm the bad guy. Yeah, really.
Weird. I mean, it's your face. It's your voice. It's everything, right?
Yeah. Well, and most of the people who have rememed it, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Because, it is getting my face out there. I mean, they can't stop that.
Yeah.
And it's piqued a lot of people's curiosity trying to figure out who I am. And so they're searching for me, which is great. So
I found you.
Fun.
I found you. I can't believe I did it, but so have you gotten more gigs and more fans, like stand-up comedian fans, because of this?
One of the things I'm finding is that most of the people who follow me are not fans of comedy.
Really?
Which is kind of weird. And it probably says something about me, I guess. But well, no, because I've been doing more stand-up shows, and what we're finding is that most of the people who are coming to see me, I'm the first comedy show they've ever gone to.
Oh,
so that's a lot of my audience. I would say at least 60-70% of my audience, when they come see me, I'm the first comedy show they've ever been to.
Wow.
So it's a different kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Do you get heckled?
I don't. I've never really gotten heckled.
Huh. I've
had to deal with it a couple times in my life, but mostly not. It's kind of, I think people realize I'm a little too weird, so they just kind of sit there and watch and wait to see what's happening. Nobody feels like they need to help me. It's like, oh, there's a train wreck about to happen. Let's just sit back and see what goes on here.
How often do you get recognized just walking around?
It's becoming more and more often. I just drove from Connecticut out here to Utah this last week, and I was at a truck stop in Pennsylvania. And I'm sitting there. I was looking for some duct tape or something to fix part of my bumper was flapping in the wind that was ripped. So I was looking for some duct tape to keep it so it would stop. You know? And so I'm wandering around this truck stop looking for duct tape, and this lady just kind of pops out of nowhere. She goes, "Are you Rodney Norman?" And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, "Are you for real? I mean, you know who I'm talking about. You know who Rodney Norman is, right?" And I go, "Yeah, me." "Oh, yeah, of course, you. Yeah, okay, so you are him, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I saw you in the parking lot, and I told my boyfriend, stop, because we were leaving, and you saw you get out of your car." And I was like, "That's him." And he's like, "Why would he be in Pennsylvania?" And she goes, "I don't know, but that's him. I know it's him. I gotta go." So she comes in and runs all over the truck stop to find me, and it was just kind of a funny little thing. And so I'm like, "Well, we're here. You want to get a picture?" And she's like, "Yeah." So she already had her phone ready to go, but she had it hid under her jacket, so I couldn't see it. Yeah. But I'm like, "Come on, I know. Let's do a picture. You know, don't be afraid to ask for a picture." It was fun. So, and then I had one guy. I'm sitting there. I'm filling up my gas. You know, at the station. I'm just standing there, and this guy kind of leans over from the pump to the side of the pump, and just kind of leans over and looks at me and goes, "Hey, are you Rodney Norman?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Love your videos, man. Those are pretty awesome." I'm like, "Cool, thanks." He goes, "Have a super awesome day, man. You too." So it's been happening more and more. It's kind of fun.
Do they expect you to be more like Leonard? Usually, I
think some people do. A lot of the ones who are kind of the diehard ones, the ones who I think would want to meet me, have figured it out. You know, they've seen the live videos, they've seen the other videos that I've done, the other characters that I've done. Because I was really working on a whole cast of characters that I was starting to put together for my live show and stuff. And this was just one character. He just happened to be the one that took off and the one that people really identify with. So
all the characters would have beards and long hair?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, throw another character at me.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but
oh, yes.
I've been moonlighting, as you say, Santa Claus. Well, actually, I've been moonlighting as Rodney Norman. Actually, I'm Santa Claus, but gets a little boring in the North Pole. And so I find the opportunity whenever I can to venture out. Of course, I can't get rid of the beard or the mustache because you can't really actually be Santa Claus with a fake beard, of course. So that was a fun one. I did
Can I ask you a question, Santa?
Sure.
Are you considered Canadian or Russian?
Well, actually, it's in the North Pole is part of, well, Antarctica is owned by all the nations. Well, it's actually owned by the Illuminati. But,
Antarctica, that's South Pole.
Well, yes, I know, but we do have a base there as well.
Oh.
But the North Pole is actually, because it's frozen, it's actually water. It's governed by maritime laws, and so we actually are our own entity.
Oh,
We're neither Canadian nor.
I can
Russian.
I can hear the accent. It's a maritime accent. Interesting. So you're a serious Santa character.
Yes. If you look it up. If you look up Santa does stand up, you'll find it. It's on Dry Bar.
Oh, okay. That's where I saw some of your other
done.
stuff. Yeah, I saw some of your other stuff in there. What is that Dry Bar? Is that a club or is that a
well,
website?
It's what it was is there was a company called VidAngel that would make. They had a service where if you wanted to watch movies and not have all the nasty stuff in them, they would, it's like, how they'll edit a movie to be shown on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They would do that and you could select what you wanted to have removed from it. So, any of the sex or the F-bombs or whatever. And so you could pick any movie and they would edit it for you and you could watch it, because there's an important message for everybody in Lethal Weapon 2, right?
Yes.
So, but they got sued by all the studios. But Disney led the charge against them. And so instead of continuing down that road, they decided they would just start doing original content that was clean, that was, and one of the things they thought they could do cheaply and easily was to do stand-up, because they didn't have to write anything. They could just bring in a stand-up and do it.
Yeah.
And so they kind of stumbled onto this thing where they didn't know any comics. They just contacted the gentleman who now runs it, comedian. He was a comedian and he started Wise Guys Comedy Clubs in Utah. They called him up and said, "Hey, we need comics. Can you bring us comedians? They need to work clean." And of course, he owns a comedy club in Utah. He knows all the clean comics. And so he started sending them, and they recorded them and started putting out comedy specials that were, PG clean, family friendly mostly. And it just took off because there was all these comedians that were not the Comedy Central demographic. If you weren't, Comedy Central looks for a very specific demographic for their comedians, between the 18 and 34 category, and everybody outside of that gets ignored.
Right.
So here's this plethora of comics that have been ignored by the industry for years. All of a sudden, Dry Bar is giving them an opportunity, and they were great comics, and it just took off. And so, it's like Comedy Central, but it's for clean comedy. It's called Dry Bar.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. I've been to websites where they edit out all the clean stuff, and all I get is sex and F-bombs.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
I was just on one. No. Well, you have merchandise.
Yes, I have merchandise. In fact, people ask me now what I do for a living, and I quite literally, I just wish people happy birthday all the time. Because I do personalized videos.
Right.
And so I do, during Christmas, I do quite a bit of Santa videos for kids. I don't really charge for those. It's sort of like, if you can afford it, they'll tip me out, but I usually just do it for free for the kids. And but I do birthday shout outs. I'm on Cameo.
Right. Okay.
That I'm there. Plus, you can go through my own site, rodneynorman.com, and I've done everything from commercials for real estate agents to some gal had me wish her happy birthday to her dogs.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been bizarre. I've done a few wedding proposals. I'm 4 for 4 on wedding proposals. If you have me do your wedding proposal, she'll say yes.
For now.
Oh, that's the other thing I'm getting into now is this weekend I'm marrying a couple.
Oh, you went and got your papers to do that?
Yeah, through the Church of the Latter-day Dude. Because if I try to get permission through my church, then you have to go through a lot of interviews, and then you have to explain why there's a process. And so I just circumvented it and went and got an online ordination so I can perform weddings.
John Smith makes it messy.
Yeah.
Is it John Smith? Is that the
Joseph Smith.
Right.
Well, yeah. Any church, large church structure, they have their own rules about who gets to, perform weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the couple's not Mormon. They're just fans of mine that wanted me to marry them in character. And I'm like, this sounds like fun. Let's do it. So that's something I'm doing now.
Are you live in Utah still?
No, I have family here, so I'm here quite a bit. But no, I live in Connecticut. It's a weird. Asking for money is the weirdest thing for me because I don't know. I'm not really motivated that much by money, but at the same time, with money, I can do things like have a car that can go in reverse. And
doesn't need duct tape.
Yes, doesn't need duct tape to keep the bumper on. That. So it's kind of a weird. I'm sort of in a weird state where I really haven't made a lot of money, but I'm doing okay. I'm getting by.
Yeah,
I get from gig to gig and keep myself fed. So
I'm the same way with money. I've had a couple of businesses and they didn't really work out because I didn't like asking people to pay me for my services.
Doesn't that feel weird? It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I just felt good that you asked me to do it, or even with the podcast here. It's like I love doing this, and it's doing pretty well. I could get sponsors now, but it's like, man, asking people for money is just weird.
I guess I shouldn't be weirded out about it, but we're getting better. I'm starting to get more gigs, more opportunities are coming, which is nice. It's like I said, it's fun, but I always get somebody online every time I, mention that I have a website, that I have merchandise. It's like, oh, you're just another one of these greedy jerks, and I'm like, no, I'm not greedy. I just want to, I don't know, make a house payment and keep the heat going on my,
Yeah.
I'm not buying anything fancy. I'm just trying to survive.
I'm just trying to buy reverse.
Yeah, if I'm just getting reverse in this thing. Yeah.
Are you coming to Saskatchewan anytime?
I would love to. I've got to get my passport. I haven't. There's a backlog on getting passports here in the States. So
yeah, COVID did a lot of weird things.
Yeah. Plus the restrictions. I think still to go to Canada, I have to sit and wait for 2 weeks once I get there. They're still doing that?
I don't know. And every province is different, and so I can't keep track of it all. So I don't know. It's been a weird couple of years, man.
Oh, yes, it has been. I think a lot of us are kind of woken up thinking, hey, maybe the government doesn't need this much control over our lives.
Are you a libertarian?
That's part of the problem. Very much so, yes.
Yeah, I could tell. And I'm not judging. I don't care one way or another.
Yeah.
if I, I'm a little left of center, but if my second choice is libertarian.
Well, I like to tell people is that everybody's libertarian. It's just really hard to get a bunch of people who hate government to get out there and get involved in government.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, how come you're not more popular? Well, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with the Libertarian Party is libertarians.
Yeah, that's true. Never thought of that.
No, just want to find out more, rodneynorman.com. It's
Awesome.
got my calendar where I'm going to be at, and my stuff, and links to all my social media things. It's all there.
Do you have any words of inspiration before you leave?
Okay, so the purpose. Okay, so people always ask me, "Hey, what's the purpose and meaning of life?" Well, if you believe in a God person, or if you don't believe in the God person, the purpose of being alive is the same thing, because just the fact that we're here is pretty freaking amazing. I mean, if it's just a God person, then it's pretty amazing that the God person did all this for us. And then if there wasn't a God person, then there was just a whole bunch of weird series of strange events that just sort of took place simultaneously over billions of years, and then all of a sudden, boom, hey, hello, here we are. And so regardless of which side you come from, the fact that we're here is pretty cool. And so the purpose to me of life is for you to just find your own purpose and meaning of life, and have make the world a better place your way, and just have a good time. So if you're not having a good time, you're doing it wrong.
Truth.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and to like this video. Bunny Hugs and Mental Health is on Instagram at Bunny Hugs Podcast, and you can listen on Apple Podcast and Spotify. This is Todd Rennebaum saying, make your beds and take your meds. Bye.